Ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to the Chicago Bulls, there are mainly two things that we could be talking about right now, maybe even three. We've obviously got the draft, we've obviously got our NBA head coach looking to see who we could get, and we also have free agency. Now this is going to be yet another NBA head coach Chicago Bulls video because there is someone that I want to talk about that has been nowhere near in any shape or form been talked about nearly enough for this head coaching position. I want to talk about Mark Jackson. Let's do it. What's up everybody, it's the Aidan Sports Show and welcome back to another video. Today we've got a video talking about potential candidates for the Chicago Bulls, and in this video specifically we are going to be talking about Mark Jackson. Now before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel, turn notifications on. We are only 3 subscribers away as of this recording of 160 subscribers. I know we can get there, it's only a matter of time, so let's see how quickly we can do it, and let's go right into this video. I want to talk about Mark Jackson specifically because there has not been enough talk about Mark Jackson coming to the Chicago Bulls, and I, for the life of me, do not understand why he's not being talked about more. In my opinion, Mark Jackson, of course, asking the question, would I take him for the head coach of the Chicago Bulls if the Chicago Bulls are looking for Mark Jackson? I would 100% take Mark Jackson as the head coach of the Chicago Bulls. I think he fits a lot of the things that we do need, and he helped create a very outstanding team that actually held his legacy for the test of time, even after he got released from the Golden State Warriors, man. So the reason why I want to talk about him is because I really think that he's one of my top 2 candidates out of all the candidates that we are in for the Chicago Bulls. Obviously, I still really rate Kenny Atkinson. I would love him to be the main priority for the Chicago Bulls. But obviously, Mark Jackson, in my opinion, is right next to him. And his resume speaks for himself. Now, is he the best coaching option available out there? I guess you could say yes and no, because there's clear evidence to say that he might not be as good as a coach as he was with the Golden State Warriors. Now I want to take you back to that team that everybody thinks that Steve Kerr was the main reason why they got to where they were today, why they became a dynasty, why they became one of the best teams of all time. Obviously, the 73-9 record, absolutely sensational. One of the best teams to ever play the game of basketball. And all of that, Steve Kerr does take a lot of credit for. But someone behind the scenes, someone that actually helped develop a team like this and nurture them and put them in a situation where they can succeed, gets nowhere near enough credit for the work that he's done. And I'm sure he knows exactly what he's done. I'm sure a lot of the fans in Golden State knows what he's done, but the entire media world does not give this guy enough credit, and his name is Mark Jackson. Before, when he was the coach of the Golden State Warriors, yes, they weren't the Golden State Warriors that were the best team in the NBA. They weren't the Golden State Warriors that were the prime, the 73-9. They weren't championship material at the time. But before Mark Jackson, they were nothing. And when Mark Jackson came in and he helped build that team, he decided to go with Steph and he went with Clay. He developed Harrison Barnes and Draymond, all these players, David Lee, Andrew Bogut. People don't remember these players as much because they're not in NBA these days, but there are so many assets that helped make the Golden State Warriors before Steve Kerr and even now, and Mark Jackson is a big reason for that, and no one gives him enough credit. And that's the first thing I wanted to say, man. He has helped, and he's done experience in the playoffs. He's done things that a lot of coaches cannot do, and he's actually helped develop the way the game has been played today. Whether it was by design or not, he has changed the shape of the NBA for obviously the way that it is now. A lot of 3-point shots, a lot of fast break opportunities, run out, space, 3-and-D, all that wasn't really the biggest necessity in the NBA has obviously become the most important thing for a team. And Mark Jackson and the Golden State Warriors have been the founders and the creators for that, and there needs to be some recognition there. Now, what would he do for the Chicago Bulls? If he comes to the Chicago Bulls, I expect a very similar way of playing than that Golden State Warriors team. Now, we don't have a Stephen Curry or a Klay Thompson. We don't really have a Draymond Green either. But the actual principles of that team should be implemented with the Chicago Bulls. You expect a very fast-paced game. You expect 5 out, attack the paint, and pass out to shooters. We have more than enough shooters on this team to actually be a very good threat offensively. Even if we get a new draft pick that can shoot threes, that would be absolutely perfect with Mark Jackson on this team. He will help revolutionize this team and actually play a different style compared to the likes of what we've been playing recently. Very, very slow, lethargical, can't really do any offensive plays. Just basically give it to Zach and let's see what happens. That was our entire offense last season. Yes, we've had obviously very good strengths in terms of Kobe White actually stepping up on the offense, and he has become at many times that season our second option for the Chicago Bulls. But obviously we need all of our players to step up offensively, and we need to get a coach that is offensive minded like a Mark Jackson that can also have a good defensive team. Golden State were one of the best defensive teams during their stretch of fantastic games and championships. And even before that, when they were the 8th seed versus the Clippers with Mark Jackson as the coach, they were not bad defensively at all, and they really took it to the Clippers. So I think that situation for the Chicago Bulls will only help us take the next step in what our goal is to hopefully become NBA champions. One day, one way or another, and I think Mark Jackson could definitely be that coach that could take us to that level. He might not be the end product, he might not be championship quality, but he could definitely help us take those steps, man. We've already seen it. He's done it in the past. He's one of my favorite coaches, to be honest, and I really want to give him that credit, and that's why I made a video specifically about him. Now, of course, in saying that, the bet online odds, I believe, for us getting Mark Jackson is dead last at 18-1. So there's a very high chance this will not happen, and I don't think people even want to entertain this idea. There has been a lot of talk with Mark Jackson that I don't think he might ever coach again, and even if he does coach again, there are obviously risks bringing a person like Mark Jackson into this organization. First things first, we could be saying that Mark Jackson may have coached well, but actually the players really took reins of that team, and we can honestly say that maybe Mark Jackson wasn't the main person to get that team where it was. It was the players' development and rising up and stepping up that actually made Mark Jackson better for what he is. Now, to be honest, that's a complete load of bull, but a lot of people will say that it was Curry, it was Clay, it was all these players that stepped up and actually did the job for Mark Jackson. Another negative that you could say is that he hasn't coached for a long time. I can't remember the last time he's coached, but trust me when I say this, not being a coach for a long time could definitely be a big risk if the Chicago Bulls decide to go in that direction. And the reason why is the game has changed. Even from the 2012 season till the 2020 season, it's been it's been a very long time, man. It's been close to 8 years, I think he hasn't been coaching. Again, I will check that. But the game has changed dramatically from 2012, 2013 to now. Absolutely it has, and that's probably why you would say that there's a big risk there, because he hasn't coached for a while. There is a good chance that he might not be the coach that people think he is anymore. Obviously, a lot of people will go for the recent coaches that have been coaching because they know the culture of today's NBA a lot more than someone looking in from the outside and commentating on the facts. But of course, NBA minds will always have an eye for adapting the game and changing it for themselves. And maybe Mark Jackson could see that as a positive, as he might not be a head coach, he might not be that coach that has revolutionized the game now, but he's done it before, and I'm sure he can find a way to do it again. In my opinion, that is the type of coach that I would like. Of course, that's the big risk, because if he does come in and he does head coach the Chicago Bulls, and it's basically old school type of basketball, not letting go of the past, then we could be in for another disastrous season because of that. It's a risk. It's always a risk. Getting any head coach of a high level will be a risk, because they could end up not working out, and then we've done yet another mistake. So maybe the Chicago Bulls are going for a safer option, but in my opinion, this guy doesn't get talked about enough. He might be a risk, but some risks are very rewarding and some risks don't end up well. The Chicago Bulls will have to decide whether or not he is going to be worth the risk. In my opinion, what he's done, his resume speaks for itself. He has done a lot for the NBA. He's revolutionized the NBA in many ways. He he is like the silent assassin, man. He does all of the hard work. He's built that team up, but yet no one seems to even recognize him as Golden State Warriors' success. And it's just the way that it is. Of course, Steve Kerr, I'm not trying to disrespect Steve Kerr whatsoever. I know Steve Kerr is a fantastic coach. There has to be a reason that they won so many championships, how they've had a dynasty. They had the best win record of all time. And yes, the players do help Steve Kerr, but Steve Kerr also helps the players. And I do think that is a perfect match for them. But I do think that I even believe Steve Kerr has talked about Mark Jackson very highly and saying that he doesn't get enough credit for it. And I agree with that. I definitely agree. And in the end, I would love to see him coach again. And we do need experience. He is a very experienced head coach. I just think that he is someone, I'm not saying the Bulls should choose him. I would personally say the Bulls should go after him. But of course, it's all up to the Bulls. If he doesn't fit our playing style, he doesn't fit our playing style. But I'd at least like to see more of him mentioned. And I think that's what this video is trying to, hopefully that goal is to allow him to be mentioned more by Chicago Bulls fans. You guys might disagree with me. I think this is probably going to be the more controversial of the head coaches available. We do have head coaches like Tyronn Lue to still be discussed, even though a lot of coaches are heading in different directions, man. Coaches are getting fired, coaches are coming in. I'm expecting D'Antoni to be fired recently. Maybe there's a video to be talking about that. Nowhere near. I would stay away from that coach. But in the end, there's always a discussion to be held within the Chicago Bulls. So thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. If there are any suggestions for head coaches you would like me to talk about in another video, of course, I am still talking about the NBA draft for the Chicago Bulls. I am going to be talking about head coaches because in the end, this is the off season. These are the things that are going to be happening. And of course, I do want to bring discussion to this channel. I want people to speak. I want people to open their mind. I want people to discuss their emotions and what they think is right. The most intelligent people in the NBA and mainly around the Chicago Bulls are the fans. The fans are some of the most intelligent people of this franchise. And it's been like that since the beginning, man. Since the Michael Jordan era until now, even before that, back in the 80s, wherever you want to make your name as a Chicago Bulls fan, we are the most intelligent people in my opinion. And I do think there is discussions there. Anyway, have a wonderful day. I'll see you guys in another video. Take care and peace.